Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings. Hope you are all doing well, and whatever time of day it is, you've either got a martini or a cup of tea or something like that. Oh, I have been so tired the last couple of days, and that's why you haven't seen me around. I don't think I did a video yesterday. I'm not sure if I did one the day before. I can't remember. There is a lot going on here, as always, all the time. So this is lovely escapism for me. Just me and you guys. So I thought just a chat, just a general chat, and I haven't caught up on all the comments. I am working my way through them, and they always fascinate me, because just when I think I've sort of got an angle on a situation, one of you says something that makes me look at it from another angle, and you stretch my mind, and I really, really appreciate and love that. And there's sort of, some people have a consensus that Harry is a victim of a narcissist, a manipulator, and I think I'm one of them. But others of you, quite rightly, are very angry with him, and justifiably so, of the things that he put the late Queen and Prince Philip and his father and his brother, is continually putting William through the ringer. Now, so I just wanted to sort of test out my theories on you, because when I said the other day, he's a nice looking guy, I didn't mean I fancy him. What I mean is, there's nothing visible. He's not in a wheelchair. He's not physically or visibly disabled or handicapped in any way. But I think even his harshest critics have got to admit something isn't right there. And I think about it a lot of the time, because I actually, a couple of days ago, was going through some of Graham's really old pictures and videos of the kids when they were little and when we first moved to Gibraltar. And I happened upon quite a few things. Me in total, full-blown meltdown. I mean, I didn't recognise myself because, and this is for the benefit of people who are new to the channel, in our family, we have had two narcissistic psychopaths who used to torture us, absolutely torture us, and we didn't know what they were. We just thought they were nasty pieces of work, which they are, but we didn't understand their motivations, because their nastiness didn't seem to have a clear motivation. Like it would, if you meet someone who's a nasty piece of work and wants to rip you off and get money out of you, it's not that straightforward. They seem to create pain for the pure delight of creating pain on other people. And it wasn't just us, it was lots of people in the community, and it doesn't happen so much these days. It just doesn't. We basically grey rock them in the end, and I never name them on this channel, but it fascinates me because I see Harry going through something similar. Not the same, but something similar. I actually think if our two had millions of pounds and were members of the British royal family, Meghan would look like Snow White, trust me. What has given, Meghan is, to me, I feel she's always had this personality of vengefulness. She referred to that game show that she was on in a derogatory fashion. What was it called? Deal or No Deal thing. She still remembered what a very slight comment that the woman had said, pull your tummy in, smile, get out there on stage. A comment that you and we wouldn't even remember somebody saying that. Meghan remembered. Meghan put it, I think she put it in one of her podcasts. Tick. I taught her. See who's laughing now, That's quite vindictive and vengeful. And I think that most likely people in her life, when she was sucking up to her dad, probably went to Thomas Markle and said, you're only seeing one side of her. And I dare say he was like, she's my little girl, she's my little angel, she couldn't do any wrong, because he was on the receiving end of the love bombing. He couldn't see other things, and it just becomes clearer to me every time she opens her mouth, every time she does an action, it becomes clearer and clearer. The similarities between her and our two psychopaths is striking, absolutely striking. So anyway, getting back to the old videos, I actually found a video of one of our psychopaths. It's incredible. In fact, I was showing one of the kids the other day and they were like, oh my God, I never actually realised they were that insane. Because what happened was this psychopath was coming at Graham and he got his camera out and he videoed this behaviour. And it's extraordinary. And I'd forgotten all about it because they've done so many things. They do so many things, don't they? Like Meghan, constantly. You forget. We just lurch from one disaster to the next. But I mean, I saw this and I laughed and laughed and laughed. But I didn't laugh at the time. I just laughed looking back on it, thinking, what a lunatic. She was like pushing her face into his camera and pulling faces and doing just craziness. And he just stood there, kind of stunned, videoing it all. Then he came home and said to me, look at this. And I just said, these people are nuts. But then bit by bit, we discovered what true narcissism is. True narcissism. Now, I think the term is used a lot and it sort of gets watered down, you know, everywhere. You're a narcissist. No, you're a narcissist. No, you're a narcissist. No, narcissist is a condition. Narcissism. It's not just narcissistic tendencies. With our two, it's not just a personality disorder. I mean, they are pure evil. And I think people who really hate Harry, and as I said, justifiably so, hate the fact, not Harry himself, but you hate the fact that the Queen was dying of bone cancer and he couldn't be bothered to go and see her. And then he complained later that he missed his opportunity. And Prince Philip, they went ahead with Oprah, even though they knew. And all the things they've said about other members of the royal family. And I'm not sure Camilla is feeling tip-top form, although she puts on a really brave face and gets out there and does her thing. And also Charles. We always think of Charles and Camilla as quite young because they were the younger ones to the Queen and Philip. But actually, they're in advanced years themselves and they have every right to, you know, the older people get, the more really they should just be get a little bit of peace. So I understand all that. But let's put ourselves in Harry's shoes for a minute. If he is living with a certifiable nutter, who he happens to be married to, he's made a commitment. I think he is intellectually challenged, to say the least. He's certainly not intuitive. He's certainly not in touch with how people can manipulate. He is like a little kitten sitting in the middle of a motorway. He hasn't got a clue. And I mean, the combination of that with a highly manipulative person, that is lethal. And then add to the mix, he's a multi-millionaire and he's a member of the British royal family, and she can use that power, that money, to exert influence. So I think what is most likely going to happen is he's going to end up really broken by the end of this. I hope he survives. I hope he gets out of it. But when he does these things and he says these things, it makes all of us really angry. We're like, you know, come on, dimwit, can't you see? Can't you see she's using you? But no, he can't see it. And also there's the other element, as I say, with our two psychopaths, they literally, I've got video of both my kids in high levels of distress where we did like private video blogs. I've got videos of Graham driven out of his mind to distraction. I've got videos of myself. These are all private things that we've never made public, going into full-blown meltdown. And these two psychopaths we have in our lives, they're not members of our family. We're not related to them. We don't work with them. They are not neighbours. They're just people who like to inflict pain on a very small community. So, I mean, God knows what it's like if you're married to one, if you're living with one. I mean, and they nearly broke us, and we were together as a family, the four of us. Anyone who's been with us a while can see we're a very tight-knit family. We're our own support group. I can't imagine how anybody would cope just being on their own. So we were isolated from the rest of the community thanks to these two psychopaths, but we had each other. Do you see what I mean? So we were advantaged. Harry has been isolated. By his own volition, he chose to do it, but he did it thinking he was doing the right thing, you know, because until you've lived with a person like that, you have no idea how controlling. Now, we're looking at a man who isn't very bright. He's on his own. He has no help, no advice, no guidance whatsoever, except this predator. That's what he's got. So if we tried to imagine that he had, for example, let's say he did. Let's say he had a disability or a handicap that we could all see. Or let's say he was a woman and she was the man. The world would be screaming from the rooftops about the abuse if it were the other way around, wouldn't it? If he was the wife and she was the man. And I know it's kind of bizarre. He's almost become the wife and she's the one who's the man. But let's say they literally were a man and a woman in the other way round. The world would be saying, this is an abusive relationship. This woman, Harriet, let's call him Harriet, can't think straight, isn't particularly intelligent, isn't in tune. Harriet is being manipulated by Mega Man. Mega Man. So I think that's the problem. A lot of us here can see the abuse, but an awful lot of the general public cannot see it. And until you've been in that sort of situation, and we used to get a lot of people who were outside of the situation who would say things like, oh, don't worry, they'll get their karma. How many times we heard that and it just felt like it was never going to come. Or they would say, just ignore them, which actually is excellent advice. But when you're in it, very difficult, very, very difficult. And as I say, the four of us all leant on each other in the end to grey rock them. And the attacks continued for 6 months. That's how long it took. 6 months they would not let up. And just towards the end, I was thinking, they're never going to stop. And then suddenly they stopped. It does work. Stop giving them fuel. Stop giving them supply. So I think the strategy of the Windsors, because they will know Harry better than anybody else. They will know the ins and the outs of absolutely everything that's gone down. I think probably their strategy all along has been cut him loose, let him have whatever money inheritance he had. When she's noshed her way through it and he's got no more money and he's of no further use for her, she'll dump him and we'll end up picking up the pieces and we'll put him somewhere quiet like the Cotswolds, or maybe send him to Botswana to heal, and we will try and help him because he's... And another thing a lot of people say is we forget about William. William also lost his mother. I never forget about William. But William was really lucky and had a lot more sense. He took his time to choose his bride. He took a long time to be absolutely certain. And he was really lucky and he struck gold with the lovely Catherine. And she has her own family, nice, stable family. I mean, they've had a few issues in the family, but again, they're at their own support group. And that, I think, makes the world of difference for William. And I think William wanted that for Harry. But Harry was in a big hurry to marry Meghan. I can't think whose idea that was, but I think we all know, don't we? And again, there are certain types of personalities that are very easy to manipulate and are malleable, and they are just sitting targets for these types of predators, unfortunately. And even strong characters like me and Graham and our 2 kids, we've been on the receiving end of it, and I'm telling you, it nearly broke us, each of us as individuals. That I can't go into the detail of some of the most horrific things they did because they both still live and breathe. And it's nothing to do with defamation or lawsuits, because I still have all the files, I still have all the evidence. So, and they know that. I just don't want them back in our lives. And as long as I don't name them, all they can do, they do watch this channel, all they can do is sit back and watch in horror and fear. If they ever do come near my family again, then that situation could change, but I don't think they're going to now. They're on to new victims, unfortunately, and I'm sorry I can't help in that instance. But I mean, just try, even if you hate Harry, Oh no, I'm sure none of you hate Harry. I think what we all hate is the things that he's done. And I tell you, if he wins this court case, I see the visa thing, that is turning into a big thing, but I don't know anything about American law. Royal Grift, that's who I would watch. And I've also been watching Black Belt Barrister, because although he's a UK barrister, he has some thoughts and input on that. And he's also, and other YouTubers have accessed the documents. And Black Belt Barrister was saying it does look a lot more serious than he thought, firstly looking at it cursory, so that could turn into a really big thing. I don't think it's inconceivable that, for example, King Charles might, not ordered, but might have said something like, well, if he were to lose his American visa, where would he go? He certainly was, she's not going to leave America, that could be a solution. He might have made just an off-the-cuff remark, or Camilla might, and then people who work for them, work with them, might have thought, that's an idea. So they could be influenced the other way. I'm not suggesting there is, but it's not inconceivable, is it? So, yes, today is just Saturday morning chat, and I really do. I feel really, really tired because of all the stuff that's going on in the background. But we haven't got any narcissistic psychopaths causing any trouble at the moment. It's just, I don't know why, life just like throws a lot of stuff. I almost dread the calm periods in life when nothing's going wrong. I think, oh, I'm just bracing myself for it. I'm just waiting for it. And then sure enough, boom, 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 a whole load of problems come at you. Don't know if you guys get that. And I'm going through that at the moment. So today and tomorrow, I just don't want to think about anything, really. I might meditate. I might actually try and get into yoga for once. I've been meaning to for a while. Or do something relaxing. Maybe do some gardening. So anyway, lots of food for thought, and I do feel things are coming to a head and coming to an end. Somebody said if he wins just 1 point against the Mirror, then he wins his case. I tell you what, you will blow me down with a feather if he wins this case, really, really. I will be shocked, stunned, disgusted, horrified, because the guy needs no further encouragement. I dread to think, forget the money, right, in winning costs and stuff like that, just for Harry's own good. If he wins this case, in his pea brain, he's going to think, I did the right thing. And he's going to go even further down this road and do more damage to himself and others. I still can't get over the people who are supporting and encouraging him to do this. Can't they see how much, even if he wins, how much it's cost him mentally, and he can ill afford to spare any mental thoughts. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, as always, thank you very much for listening. Hope you have a lovely, relaxing day, and I'll see you in the comments.